Okay, thank you very much. And thank you very much to St. Richard for all of his news, because I guess all of us should understand when you're listening to him give you some of the news of the previous week or previous few days. You actually are listening to prophecy of as it relates to end time events and how the end time events are going to be prepared for this type of thing. So I hope you understand that. Even as simple, isn't it? But when you're talking about swine flu started in the Orient, in China and in Cambodia. Historically, they all kept pigs and ducks and geese together, and partly because they both used water. They would feed and go into the water, but also they would eat each other's manure. The ducks and geese would eat pig manure, the pigs would eat duck and geese manure, and digest it and live and grow for whatever reason. This then started causing, 100 years ago now, this transfer of illness between mammals and avians that is with us, and we're still living with it today. Plus, it mutates. It got expanded in about the 1950s or 60s when it was found that because in the East, the cockfighting, cockerel fightings, initially it was done for the purposes of finding the best male to breed with all your chickens, because you would have the most powerful and the strongest cockerel or male to breed with the hens, that type of thing. And then it deteriorated into just a game, and of course in the East it should amount of gambling. But what they were doing with humans is when the cockerels were fighting, when one got injured and would start bleeding through his nostrils, they would suck the blood, that is the owners of the different cocks that were fighting, would suck the blood out of the nostrils and spit it out. But that is believed to be where a lot of this avian flu and etc., different type of flus got into human beings, is from these individuals sucking it out. They then would go into their cities or local towns and cough and sneeze on everybody, and then other people then would head into the West and head into other areas of the world and transfer a mutated virus, because these are all viruses. They're not bacteria that can be killed fairly readily. So this whole disease feature of we would understand what's coming on us. We understand that with these end time events, we have a third of the green plants and the greenery of planet Earth dying. We have a third of the seas, the life in the seas, dying, and it's becoming red. When some gas pipelines off Southwest Africa erupted or leaked, I think it was about in the 1970s, so we're talking 20, 30 years ago, when the gas that we're trying to get to run our vehicles, etc., leaked out into the Southwest Atlantic, it caused a huge amount of deaths of plankton. And when these plankton, of course, all died, the whole ocean environment is built on plankton. So whether you're a right whale or a small fish that everybody else then feeds on, the whole ocean survives on plankton. But what was happening was that they would have, every few weeks, they would have these waves or tides, they call them red tides, of which turned out to be, once they were able to analyze it, these plankton dying. And we know that you're going to have a third of the oceans die, a third of the land and the forest die, a third of humanity die for starters. And these end time events should be interesting to all of us, because every time you turn the news on at night, you're virtually watching the foundation and preparation for end time events being taken place. Now, everybody that was associated with Worldwide or Church of God Seventh Day and Seventh-day Baptist and other churches of the last covenant-keeping churches of the last 100 years would understand all that. So hopefully we're all aware of, we're not just listening to the news. It's almost not quite entertainment, but you can watch it and review it, understanding what it is that's taking place. America, of course, is the main target because it's had the greatest prosperity, the greatest financial and other successes. and of course is the target to be closed down. And you can watch anytime you feel like listening to the news, you can watch Barack Obama further implement legislation to destroy the ability for America to stand alone against the world. You've got the government motors, or used to be General Motors, that type of thing, being taken over by the state, who have very little ability to even survive themselves. So I hope everybody keeps that a little bit in mind. One thing I did want to cover just before we started here was, if you look on the website under human animal, you'll see a long time ago this whole aspect of human animal embryos ruling, mixing different animal species and DNA, which happened pre-flood, and probably was the reason for the flood, that all pre-flood human beings that have been affected with infected or affected by this false DNA were drowned. They're all drowned, and so were all the animals. So you might conclude then that everything is being removed that the DNA has been corrupted. Now, if you look at that it's only a couple of page document here. You've got Human Fertilization and Embryology Authority is expected to give the go-ahead in principle. Each case will be judged individually. So as you carry on, they purport and give themselves the authority that they may be able to heal diseases. Well, so what? God said we would not have the diseases of Egypt if we fulfilled the terms of His covenant, and we've got all of the diseases of Egypt in our western hemisphere, amongst the tribes of Israel, specifically Joseph, that is the main target of all this type of assault. That we have every one of them, and so instead of researching it and keeping the terms of the covenant, so these diseases aren't put upon us with clean foods and a better way of living our lives, we don't. Now, a bit of the legislation here, of course, is in Australia. Embryos are allowed to be created, manufactured for research. Human-animal hybrids are banned. The only exception is to test the quality of sperm. I'm not sure if everybody's clear on the fact that the human males are dying out. It used to be about 52-48 as a matter of percentage of how 52% female, 48% male. It's dropping off dramatically because of the what's being put into the, well, call it the gene pool, or into the poisons that are released, especially near a place like Sarnia, Ontario. This is one of the most polluted areas of planet Earth. And actually males are dying out. And a lot of those that are surviving are feminized. They're feminized. So there's a remarkable effect of what is taking place in the West. Primitive areas of the world are not affected by some of this and really live much better, healthier lives than we do. So anyway, if you read that document, I think you'll be surprised of what's taking place. But related to human parents, mixing with principally it's pigs and primates that human DNA is being mixed up. And I think you find it interesting, because I know it comes up occasionally. And so as long as you all understand what it is that's taking place, and when you listen to the news at night or read a newspaper, what it is that's taking place that you are reading, and they're prophetic. So if you include a few of the scriptures that include the prophecy in this, today I wanted to touch on the Communist Manifesto, which might be an odd topic for a church to be discussing, but it should be, because it relates to prophecy, end-time events, the takeover of planet Earth by a select body of individuals, certainly the destruction of the British Commonwealth nations and specifically America, which has received a preponderance of the blessing